Nobody could deny that you've done terribly well for yourself ever since leaving the royal family. So I thought I'd ask what everyone would love to know. What is your secret for financial success? What advice would you give the viewers at home? Oh, it's so lovely for you to ask that question. It feels like I'm being valued for my brain. Yeah, that's what I admire you most for, Meghan. But that's not to say that I don't admire your yacht girl persona. Oh, not bad for 41. Even better for 46. Now, right now, back to your really interesting question. What advice would I give? Well, first of all, you need to, the money's got to be available. It's got to be there. So someone's got to make it first. It's got to be made in industry and commerce. So I suppose you need those rich guys, mainly guys. And so whenever we meet a really rich guy, we make sure to get to know them better and see what we can do and what they can offer. Rule number 1, the basis of everything is big business. You've got to get in with the big guys. And I think also it's about knowing what you want, knowing what you want and how much you want and how much you want it. Crikey. That's what gives you direction. Otherwise, where would you be aiming? Where would you know where to aim? People who are directionless don't have financial success, right? You got to know what you want and see it in your head and hold it there and think about it a lot, to reinforce it at the detriment of everything if need be, everything. I mean, you're the only one who's important here. You and your goals. Don't let anyone get in the way of that or anything get in the way of your success. It's you've got to be prepared to take from anyone and everyone to bring about your own success, right? Rule number 2, always know what you want, always want more, and don't let anyone or anything get in your way. Yeah, and if we're talking about how to get really forward in terms of financial success, which we are and have been for a while, then we got to talk about adapting the message and the current portrayal of truth that's appropriate to the situation, right? Right. So you mean not the actual truth? Yeah, but the truth doesn't really exist, in that sense. Hasn't existed for years. Well, what I'm trying to say is you always have to be consciously aware, of the narrative and the collection of facts that you're, representing and using, to make sure that they really hit the right nerve at the right time. Oh, this is getting more cryptic with every sentence. I mean, it really must be incredible living in that mind. Absolutely astounding. It is. Oh, thank you. Rule number 3, never get attached to any specific or particular version of truth. Yeah, that's essential. Yeah, we call it the triad bicycle approach. Built in industry, steered by greed, and powered by peddling lies. Unconfirmed reports have suggested that your legal team are combing through the details of your lampooning on South Park to see if anything more sinister can be leveled against the creators. I love the smell of lawsuits in the morning. I refuse to be mocked, okay? I refuse to be mocked. Especially by a couple of juvenile 50-somethings who do silly voices, Worldwide privacy tour. Yes, but you must concede that doing a worldwide media tour to demand privacy is such a stark and hilarious contradiction that it's rife for parody. It almost writes itself. But I'm not a fan of parody, actually. I think it's rude and cruel and mean and intellectually inferior. Idiot. But I thought you decided, Harry, that the South Park parody was quite funny, actually, and that the best way to deal with the ensuing ridicule was to laugh along with it. I mean, you two did bring this on yourselves. I don't even know what that means. Oh, it means that we were asking for this with our petulant and whingy behaviour. Well, thank you for explaining that to me, Harry. Yeah, well, actually, I decided that it wasn't funny at all, actually, on further inspection, and that calling me Prince of Canada
was insulting and cruel and entirely unamazing.
Right, okay. And why did you come to this sudden realization?
Well, it was after a chat with Meghan, actually.
Shocker.
She'd just given me my phone back with increased screen time limits. So, I was in a really good mood. So I was, receptive to her reception.
Receptive to my deception. You said it, Meghan.
Yeah, so basically Meghan taught me and showed me how to think more clearly about this whole situation. And that's when I realised it wasn't funny and it wasn't a joke at all.
That's right.
Yeah, and then Meghan actually convinced me that we might be able to make some moolah out of this. So that's when I actually, realised that, it was really offensive and not funny at all. And that I was really emotionally scarred.
And that's when we sent our lawyers out, right, into action?
They were unleashed onto the streets like rats during the plague. A host of... Well, actually, what is the collective noun for lawyers?
It's an infection of lawyers, I think. Actually, it's a pandemic of lawyers. Oh, even better. So anyway, our pandemic are looking over all the insults thrown at us to see if, there's anything that can be used as the basis for a legal complaint. Yes, Meghan, but do you think it's a good idea, a sensible policy to endlessly complain and whinge about being subject to criticism and parody? As someone recently said, you're acting like a pair of entitled woke dictators.
Right, who said that? Who said that? We'll sue.
You don't have the right to not be made fun of. You don't have the right to not be offended. So can't you just laugh along at the gentle mocking and be done with it? Returning once more to the fallout from the South Park parody, you are now quite surprisingly ruling out the idea of suing the creators for as much money as you possibly can. But reports have surfaced that the spoof has raised tensions so high that you two are bickering with each other.
Yeah, well, stress is stress. And even love affairs have their fair share of bickering.
No, we're not bickering.
What do you mean we're not bickering? What was that last night then? Eagles barking at each other?
No, we haven't been bickering.
Oh, no, she's right. No, we haven't been bickering. No, not at all.
Clearly. There have been times when I've needed to tactically correct Harry, when he's had some missteps in his mind, of which there must be many. Loads, yeah, it's a real mess in there.
Oh, correcting me, were you? Huh, yeah. Do you really think that's appropriate?
If required, yes.
Oh, if required. Oh, did you hear that, Cobalt? If required. Well, that's very good of you to get up in my old attic and give things a go, sweep and a tidy up there. Very good, thank you.
Yeah, well, someone has to. Somebody has to. Harry, please, enough, okay? Recently, I've been telling you, I can't have you acting like a 12-year-old. Acting like you're 12. Would you two like some private time to iron out these creases? No, we're absolutely fine.
Yeah, we're spectacular.
It's just that ever since that episode of South Park, I've been noticing a few more things, in Harry that just, irritate me. Like how he randomly breaks into one of those songs that he writes.
I'm going to get what...
And it's not really the irritating things. It's like, he could have just handled this whole thing better, our whole exit from the royal fold, so that we were, taken more seriously afterwards and weren't, relentlessly mocked.
Oh, could I? Oh, apparently, Cobalt, I could have handled things slightly better during Megxit.
Well, proof's in the pudding, Harry. The internet is rife with parodies of us, and now does South Park come along and take our humiliation to an even bigger scale. And with ruthless efficiency. Yeah, and then there was that book you wrote, Spare, with all those details you shouldn't have included.
You told me to write most of that stuff.
Yeah, and that documentary kind of backfired.
Yeah, that was your idea too, That's why we've got all those videos and recordings that we were doing whilst we were still pretending to be good faith members of the royal family.
Listen, Harry, I'm getting a little bit tired of your attitude. You're answering back.
Oh, did you hear that, Cobalt? Meghan here was getting a little bit tired.
I'm serious now, Harry. Do you want me to take your mobile phone away from you again? Is that what you want? No? Do you want me to start spending even more time with Gordon Getty?
No, Meghan, no, please, no. We'll make more money, I promise.
Remember, Harry, no one's too wrinkly. Yeah, and normally, the wrinklier the skin, the weaker the heart. It appears that there were consequences for your book's spare, after all, Harry. King Charles has officially taken away Queen Elizabeth II's wedding gift to you, Frogmore Cottage.
It feels like a cruel and delicious blow.
Malicious. I'm just hoping this will open people's eyes, this is horrible, horrible behavior, right? This is the type of people they are. Did you not think, Harry, that you were skating on the thinnest of thin ices with your father after the comments you made about Camilla?
Look, truth is truth, right? And if I speak truth and it offends powerful people, and those people happen to be members of my family, well, so be it.
Yes, how noble you are when disregarding other people's feelings.
Thanks.
It's a very final and cruel punishment. It really feels like we're being, cast out of the royal frame, for good.
You'll always be a princess in my eyes, Meghan. And maybe just, that should be enough.
Yeah, well, it's not. I was a princess in my daddy's eyes, too. He worked tooth and bone for my education, which was well worth it, evidently. Yeah, and I cast him aside when he was no longer coughing up the goods, I'm a duchess, kind of a princess. I should have a castle or a palace, and all this, you're a princess in my eyes stuff. What can I do with that?
Oh, it was just a few comforting words, Meghan.
Yeah, okay, how sweet. Does this ridiculous display of self-pity really mean that the outrageous and petulant behavior that has become your calling card in the last 3 years would have consequences?
That's right.
Yeah, I thought there'd be consequences, but I thought that those consequences were going to be like a realization, in the royal family, that they were on the wrong side of history. Oh, and you thought that they would renounce centuries of tradition and spectacle and instead embrace the nebulous nonsense of wokenomic word salads and inconsistent feeling-based platitudes that pretend to care about other people's feelings when really they are just a front for a megalomaniacal desire to control other people's will. Yeah, I thought so.
They should have listened.
Well, they didn't. And what was blatantly obvious to most of us, that one day you'd push it too far and get the blowback that's always been coming to you. Get what's coming to me, get what's coming to me, get what's coming to me, get what's coming to me. Has happened. You've been evicted. You've been asked to vacate Frogmore Cottage to make way for Prince Andrew. Well, he is beating you in popularity polls in America.
Yeah, who wants to live in a stupid cottage anyway?
Yeah, okay, then we just have to make do with, mansions around the world. They can't really get to us. This is just petty and vindictive. That's what really annoys them, I think. They just can't get to us, However low they go, we just rise above it. And besides, I'm working on a couple of things at the moment, which will hopefully inject a serious amount of cash into the situation, There's exciting avenues out there, and I'm excited to be walking down them.
Well, I hope there's room for two on this journey, Meghan.
Yeah, sure. Piers Morgan has suggested, and he's not alone, that your Frogmore Cottage has been taken away from you by King Charles to save the monarchy.
I knew I shouldn't have called Camilla a villain.
Yep, but you wouldn't listen.
But you said I should call her far worse. You said I should refer to her as...
Yeah, look, okay, it's done now, okay? We shouldn't be rehashing the past, Otherwise we'd be no better than them.
Piers is also demanding. He's full of demands, isn't he, Piers?
I know. I mean, can you imagine living with him? Living with someone that demanding.
I'm sure that would be hell, Meghan. But yes, he's also demanding that you now be stripped of your titles and released into the purgatory of former royals so that we can all watch with a faint smile on our lips as you succumb to the inevitability of non-entity status.
I don't think that's fair.
No, you're right. I mean, for many of us, you've never escaped non-entity status.
Well, they can take Frogmore. I mean, who wants to live in a cottage? You know, let alone one with frog in the name. It's like, I mean, though I will say it was like supposed to be a gift, a wedding gift from the Queen. So,
yeah, not really a gift though, if you can just take it back when we displease you.
Yeah, exactly. They can take Frogmore, they can take Toad Hall or any other amphibian-related buildings. But like I've said before, I'll have to prize my title out of my cold, dead hands.
Yeah, imagine I wasn't a duke. And who on earth's going to be interested in me then?
Oh yeah, I'm keeping mine.
And even if they do try and take them away, Meghan and I are going to change our names legally to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex via Interpol.
Deed poll.
Idiot. Yeah, Interpol, deed poll. I don't care how we do it. Yes, but you do realise that whether or not you keep your titles has little, if anything, to do with you two.
They're our titles, We own them.
No, you don't, actually. And that's not... no, you don't, actually. That's not how it works. And I'd like to try and help you get this through the thick mist of arrogance that surrounds you. Oh, yeah, thick as cheese. But your titles can be taken just as easily as your cottage was.
They can try, And again, you haven't got to mention that they took our cottage. It's like, that was hardly a surprise.
Yeah, we saw that coming.
It was easily predicted.
And then so, as predicted, Meghan and I were evicted. We paid the rent consistently each time, and our character references were fine. We had even bought new numbers for the door. Then that letter came in, falling to the floor. And then so, as predicted, Meghan and I were evicted. You appeared for a cosy live chat with a toxic trauma therapist last night, Harry, charging people £17 to tune into the discussion about the importance of personal healing. Yes, it was a very eye-opening and moving event. Well, it was certainly eye-opening for us observers too. I mean, we had no idea there was such a thing as a toxic trauma therapist.
They're quite common in California.
The trick is to find a good one, I hate to say it, but there are some charlatans in the toxic trauma therapy trade.
Shocker. Yeah, but if you get a good one, you can really be guided through an immersive experience of self-discovery and self-healing.
I have to admit, I think I might need to see a toxic trauma therapist to help me get through the discovery that there was such a thing as a toxic trauma therapist. I mean, it really makes you wonder, who seeks these people out? People like Meghan and me.
Yeah.
And it was great to have an online chat with Dr. Mati, because he actually knows about the power of ayahuasca.
Yeah, the South American hallucinogen that gives you all the pain and suffering of a hangover beforehand, before the perception-altering realizations that help to reset the mind, and give you the power to carry on.
Yes, you said, and I quote, "It helped clean the windscreen of my troubled little mind." I thought I just said, cleared the windscreen of my troubled mind. Ah, yes, okay, I might have added little. Some people are skeptical of the process. They just call it dabbling in dangerous Class A drugs. Well, I'm pretty open-minded and agnostic about it myself. I mean, a close friend of mine, Barman Keys, he's attended a ayahuasca ceremony. Yeah, I know Barman.
Really? And what did nature reveal to him during his experience? To never trust Boris Johnson. And to be fair, he stuck with his vision. But hearing about how it cleared the windscreen of your troubled mind, Harry, has left me feeling a bit more sceptical about the process. I mean, you're hardly a good ambassador for health and thriving spiritual and physical vitality, are you, Harry?
Why?
Well, to paraphrase Julie Burchill in the Mail on Sunday, you've been drained of your ginger lifeblood and are now consumed by a beige weakness that manifests constantly as complaint.
I don't see myself as a victim.
Well, I do think you're a victim, actually, Harry. I think you're a victim of your own stupidity. You're a victim of an ambitious harridan who is effectively tenderizing you, ready for the final roast. And you're a victim of quirky quacks who attempt to monetize people's self-absorption.
Look, and smoking weed helped me cast off the cloak of coldness given to me by my father, and his emotionless, affectionless upbringing, parenting. So that I now bombard my children with love, like Meghan bombards me with love. She really saved me.
How so, Harry?
Look, I'll answer that in a minute. I'm just nipping out for a quick smoke. Look, don't ask me how it's done, but apparently you can click a like button or something, even a subscribe button. Rumour has it there's a notification bell and a sharing option. I got no idea how to do it, but if you can work it out, I'd really appreciate it.